So it wasn't long after I left the classroom, which was about 2 years ago now, that I became kind of frantic, convinced that I'd made pretty much a huge mistake. Real fun times for me. It appeared that AI was about to make what I do completely irrelevant. In fact, just this week, I was perusing YouTube, just kind of like glancing around. I was actually doing something else, and it was just on in the background. you know, as it be. And there was this video. I didn't give it a whole lot of my attention because I could not. With, AI robots, robot teachers in the classroom. Now, we've been talking about this kind of science fiction for kind of a long time now. I remember, I'm going to date myself here, but back in the 80s, they talked about, they had, some of you might be of this age also, but they would have video cameras, or sorry, not video cameras. They would have TVs in the classroom, and they would just like play the news or put on videos. And they were like, oh, that's so bad. We're letting TV teach our kids. And then there was like science fiction. We're like, oh, someday we're going to have, just like the internet teaching the kids. But now, and then the newest thing is there's going to be robots teaching your kids. And so when I saw this YouTube, so have the robot teachers now. And so now I didn't watch enough of this because I could not even actually give it that much of my attention. I'm like, wait, are they actually saying that this is happening now? That cannot be. Or is this like just one of the, it's just like we're piloting this, we're testing it out. But certainly we've been trying to figure out how to more efficiently teach students for so long. In fact, that's how we have the model for the classroom now. Was it in the 50s, I think? They were like, maybe we can teach children the way we manufacture cars. It didn't used to be like that. And so they were like, okay, if we can just like conveyor belt education, like we conveyor belt cars, we can like file them in. We'll file in the like language arts class, file them out, file them into math, and then like just keep on like piloting through like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and just like, because kids work that way, right? They just sit there, input the information, output into the career. And I mean, I don't know if any of you have noticed that we have had some problems with that model a little bit here and there. Like it just doesn't always necessarily work. So at any rate, the newest thing apparently is robot teachers. Like I said, I only glanced at it for a few seconds. I didn't get the whole story. I didn't get the whole video. So I'll have to go watch it and get back to you on how well that's happening. Anyways, back to me. Here's the real story though. I left the classroom 2 years ago because I was moving. So I had a job. I absolutely loved it. I adored it. Loved my students. The most wonderful. But I moved to an entirely new state, and the trajectory of education from the conveyor belt of knowledge, it's just been like ramping up. And when I moved to the new state where I am now, it's continued to ramp up. And as an educator who cares deeply for the outcomes of my student and learning and getting the best results possible, when I found myself seeing that things are not getting better, but actually like the outcomes are getting more and more difficult with what's happening in education. It's like, this is no longer sustainable. This is no longer working. And where I am now in the classrooms that I was going and visiting and helping out, and I would see 35, once in a while 30, but like generally the average class size 35, sometimes 45, even in some classes. Now this would be a culinary class, so it was an elective, but sometimes 50 kids in a classroom. Are you kidding me? What are we doing to these kids? And I know, had I been a kid in this day and age, I would have felt completely overwhelmed and lost. And not just that, I would feel like it's okay for me to just check out. Like, nobody's going to notice if I'm not paying attention. No, this teacher probably doesn't know who I am. They're not really that connected to me. And so that's as a normal student. Now, if you are a student who has some challenges or has some other things going on, like maybe you're feeling overwhelmed at home, or you have like a situation with your friends, you have some other circumstances happening, you're going to feel even more like it's okay for you to just take a pass and just kind of be disengaged. And 50 kids in your class, are you kidding me? As educators, we know best practice. We know that this is not best practice. And I'm telling you, no teacher, no matter how good, can give every student the individualized attention their writing actually needs. So I'm talking about writing here because that's what I specialize in. But I don't care what your discipline is. You cannot differentiate to the level of need that students need in order to get the outcomes and results that we in our hearts want for these kids. So it's important to me in my passion for teaching to provide actual impact and outcomes that I want kids to have. So that's why I pivoted. I'm like, okay, we're doing something different. I know the best model for kids is small group support. So that's what I do in my practice. I provide small group support for kids. But as I transitioned, I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. This is how I set this up for kids. And then I had this like nagging feeling, wait, but if I'm providing writing and I'm going to do this in a tutoring model, is anybody actually going to be interested in this? Because suddenly at the forefront of everything that's happening here, there's this new wave of technology, AI. Okay, so we now have AI entering the scene, and I'm offering small group tutoring, which I know is the best thing for kids. But why would any parents pay for writing tutoring for their kids when they know, well, they can just enter the prompt into the plug it in, and allow their kids to magically have the writing done for them? So why are parents going to pay for that? And why on earth is a teen going to do all the work to go ahead and work harder when they can just get it for no effort at all? So the truth, though, is AI hasn't removed the need for the skill. It's removed the ability to fake having it. Let's think this through a little bit, because students can submit work without like thinking through anything. They can just like, okay, this is what the teacher told me to do. I can go and I can plug it in with like 5% effort and get something back. They don't actually have to do any critical thinking. There is zero cognitive load. They can be disengaged. And a lot of times that's exactly what they need. If they're going through anything like personally, they actually need to put their brains to work. They need to force their brains to learn how to like have that, like force up against challenges and be like, I have a challenge and I'm still going to work through that when times get tough, because those are the skills they need to develop into their adulthood. And they need to learn them as teenagers, even when it's challenging. So how are they going to bypass these things? How are they going to take this opportunity to learn critical thinking? And because they're not doing that, they're losing out on these critical opportunities during their adolescent years. And if they don't have those, are they going to be prepared for college? Are they going to be prepared to turn in those college applications if they haven't gotten those scholarships, or if they haven't gotten those opportunities when they're younger? Are they going to be prepared for better career opportunities? So this is what I propose is going to happen. Sure, they can get through school without it, because, I mean, is it even going to be considered cheating? Yeah, they can cheat their way through school right now. And they can they could probably even figure out a way to get good grades. But will they be prepared to get grades, to get the scores they need on their SATs? Will they be prepared to turn in actual scholarship applications that are going to make them stand out amongst their peers? Will they be able to get into those higher level colleges? And then there is a shift coming in the career brackets that are out there, because without critical thinking skills, there's going to be all these base level job opportunities out there. But for the higher level career opportunities, you're going to have to think. So this is what I've been wrestling with over the last couple of years. And this is what I'm watching play out in real time. Students who learn how to think and write for themselves are going to become rare. Not just students, adults too. This is for all of this. This is for this might be too deep. This might be too much. But like for humanity, people who can think critically are going to become rare. And writing is thinking. So those who can write well are the ones who can think critically. And that's going to become rare. And rare is valuable, right? It's going to become a commodity. This is what this means for your kid this coming school year. The thinking brain is becoming a commodity for the future, not the ability to like generate a paragraph. Sure, like that's important. And I do love a beautifully like curated paragraph with all like the nice punctuation and it's well organized and it's easy to read and I can follow the train of thought. Great. I'm a writing teacher. I love that. But what I really love is a window inside a student's brain. Like, I can see where they came up with that thought. I can see the ideas behind it. That's why English language arts teachers love to see what's written. Not like, oh, you did it perfectly. Oh, a robot wrote that. I don't care about that. I want to see that they can grasp ideas. I want to see their concepts. I want to see that they understand what's actually good, what's true, and what's original. And you can't get that from a machine. That has to come from them like working and struggling and being willing to think. And I think the thing is, kids sometimes get like lazy when it's too easy, but once they learn like, oh, I'm trying. And yeah, it was hard, but that hard work, when you get to the other side of it, it's kind of like fun because you have that satisfaction, that pride in yourself. It's kind of like exercise. Like I know marathon runners, and when you talk to them, they don't say, oh, when I'm running, I'm having so much fun. It feels so great feeling like I'm about to like pass out and I'm sweating so much that I'm all sticky. They don't necessarily like the feeling of when they're doing it or lifting the heavy weights if they're a bodybuilder. What they like is the feeling of achievement afterwards, that pride of feeling like they did something that was really hard. And the same is true of writing or developing the skill of writing, and how your brain gets trained to think about things that are challenging and then turn it into something that's curated and beautiful. So as I think about this, and I think about like, oh gosh, like it took me a while to be like, am I going to lean into tutoring kids how to write when they can just like ask a machine to do it? And I was like, is that worthwhile? Do people still need this skill? And I cannot say yes more. I think it is one of the most valuable skills because writing is thinking, and thinking is necessary more than ever. So AI isn't killing writing. It is for some, but for some who know the value, it isn't killing writing, it's killing excuses. So I don't want people making excuses. And if this feels valuable, I want you to let me know, because I've got my 3-week voice program that's coming out. The 28th is our next session. We're just going to meet. We're going to have fun with writing 3 days a week for 3 weeks. They're going to write a personal essay. What's more fun to write than a personal essay? If you don't know, then I can tell you. And then we also have career and college blueprint portfolios. So students are going to get 3 days a week again for 4 weeks, learning, gathering some skills to like start early planning for their future, because junior year is too late. You don't want to wait till your junior year to start thinking about the future. Just like a fun way in 9th and 10th grade to start thinking about their futures. So that's going to start August 4th. And then also I do academic mindset coaching. So this is just once a week. We get to coach on like how to have the best mindset possible, to think about how like we can like use academics, how thinking about our academics, thinking about time scheduling, how to manage grades, all of that kind of stuff in a group setting. And we're going to have so much fun. All right. Writing is thinking. And if we can think critically, we are going to win.